everybody. I'm Amy.
And hello, I'm Audrea.
This is the right crowd, so grab a cup of coffee.
Or a delightful cup of tea.
Maybe a little something on the rocks. Let's get started.
Yes, let's. Today, I'm using a mug you gave me.
Yay!
I'm having peppermint tea.
Oh, that sounds nice. I like peppermint tea. Peppermint and chai are probably my two most favorite teas. What is today, Audrea?
Today is the day we talk about some of the classes that we have individually taken classes together, and we've got conferences together, either virtually or in real IRL, as kids say, in real life. And so today we're talking about some of the classes that I've taken. And the reason we're doing this is because so that you can have a real person's review of the class or set some expectations of what you can expect in that kind of class and just give you an idea. Some of these classes that you can wind up buying for writing craft can be kind of spendy. So there are some things.
Yeah. Yep. And this first one that we're doing is I'm going to be interviewing Audrea on her classes. Okay. So are you ready?
Let's say, all right.
So let's start with Dean Wesley Smith's WMG Classes.
Okay. So Dean Wesley Smith is an author, a very prolific professional author of fiction. He writes mystery, he writes science fiction and some fantasy. He's written over 200 books. And when I first started writing and wanted to take classes, I asked other writers, published writers, best-selling writers, who they would recommend or what classes they would recommend for someone who wanted to improve their craft or get into this writing biz. And one of the names that came up often was Dean Wesley Smith. He runs the WMG. I don't know what those initials stand for. And Dean, if you're watching this, if you could just maybe, I don't know, explain it, because I try. Every time I try to talk to someone about your classes, I can only remember WMG, and I have to, because the initials aren't the same as Dean Wesley Smith. I always get combobulated, but that's just.
I'm going to make up. I'm going to say it stands for Writers Master Group.
That probably is it. That's probably some perfectly.
I'm going to make it up. I'm going to make it up.
Probably about. This is the interactive portion of our videos. You are watching? Go ahead and put in the show notes. What does that exactly stand for?
It stands for?
Anyway, the classes at WMG are very good. He offers a lot of different types of classes. We'll get into that. But I also wanted to note that his wife, who is, I always get her name a little bit mixed up, Kristen Catherine Rush. Anyway, she teaches classes there too. She is a very prolific author and writes lots of short stories, and she has won a Hugo Award. Dean has also been asked to write for some of the big licensed fiction outfits like Star Trek and Spider-Man. He's written some of the books under their license, and X-Men. So he's written a lot, been in the business for many years. So he has lots of experience. So that's who Dean Wesley Smith is and why I wound up taking classes with him.
Okay, so the classes that he offers, who are they for and what can writers expect to learn from them?
That's a great question. He has a little bit of a different style to his classes. I'm going to preface it with, I've taken many of his classes over the past few years. I save up my ducats and take one or two classes from him a year because they are very good. And he adds to his classes every year. So there's lots of great stuff to take. So his classes, I would say, are for the intermediate to advanced author. There are lots of how-tos that you as a beginning author could take. But when I was a beginning author who had never taken any writing classes other than those I took in college, I am going to say Dean's classes are for anyone from the new to experienced author. Although as a new author, when I first started taking his classes, I got a little lost. He has a style that's a little more straightforward and take no nonsense. I've been doing this a lot of years. I'm going to tell you how to do it. This is how to do it. If you do it this way, you'll be successful. And that is the way his classes are taught. And I like the information that he provides in his classes, and Catherine when she teaches the classes. But sometimes I need just a little bit of a hug from my instructor, just a warm and fuzzy, like, you're fine. Just do it the way you want. Whatever works for you. He doesn't say that. He doesn't say whatever works for you. I mean, he does kind of say, he's a really good instructor. He has a lot to say, but he's very no nonsense. That's his style. So I would say,
You can come to me for your warm, fuzzy hugs.
okay. Do that. Continue to take classes because they're very good quality, very high caliber classes.
Cool. And what are the benefits?
That's the thing. Because he and his wife, Christine, sorry, I called her Catherine before, but because he and his wife have lots of experience in the biz, writing for TV shows and writing short stories and judging contests, you will gain a lot of practical knowledge about writing. And I don't know if I mentioned it before, they write in science fiction, fantasy, and mystery. And I think they also do some RPG, but I'm not sure about that. But they have a broad knowledge across genres to impart. And he also teaches a lot of career classes about budgeting and taxes. So lots of practical knowledge. So not only writing craft, but practical author business training is available.
Okay. And which of his classes have you taken?
Funny you should ask, because I made a list. And this is not even a complete list of all of them, but I took How to Write a Short Story. Christine taught that one. I didn't teach anything.
You taught?
Wouldn't that be nice? I took Kickstarter Best Practices, which was a great class, and it had a cohort with it. So that if you launched a Kickstarter, if you told him about it, he would announce it to all of the people that in his group. So that was pretty cool. Lots of great tips for how to do a Kickstarter. I also took...
I actually think I have that one. I just haven't taken it yet.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I also took the Writing into the Dark, which I will say he wrote a book titled Writing into the Dark. It's all about his method of cycling so that he writes pretty clean, very clean. He's been writing for 50 years, I think. Back when there were real pulp novels. But his cycling method is that and I think I talked about this on another video, you write a paragraph or a chapter, and then you go back about 200 or 300 words, you fix that, and you write forward, you go back, you fix that, write forward. So at the end of that chapter or segment or scene, it's clean. It's ready for your proofreader or whatever. So that's the way he writes. And so I took that class because I wanted to learn to write that way. Unfortunately, I was already in the middle of 3 works in progress, which needed a lot of editing. So I couldn't really apply it as well on my work in progress, although writing forward started to apply it. I think that's the way to go, actually, if you want to save time and write faster. He also teaches some classes on how to write quickly. And again, as I say, he's no nonsense. He gives you the facts, Jack, and tried and true methods for being prolific and writing quickly and engaging your readers. One of the other classes that I took from him is depth in writing and how to put instant depth into your writing are 2 different classes. But depth in writing is one of the ones that was recommended to me by a few best-selling authors as one of the main classes that helped them with their writing. So that depth in writing one. And that's one of his classic classes, or the classes that are foundational. So he has a lot of classes, and that's one of the ones he said, this is the one you should start with, or take this one before you move on to some of these more advanced topics. So I've taken that one. I took How to Write a Novella, and I also took the one I'm trying to remember, Mystery Caper, and a workshop on Mystery Caper. Both of those 2 together, I took those. And I want to say that class, I love Mystery Capers. This is what I learned in that class. I learned I love to read them and I love to watch them on TV, like How to Catch a Thief and How to Steal $1 Million. And Now You See Me, all these capers and heist movies. I love them. I do not like to write them, which was a really good lesson to learn. So I learned all of the tropes that go into it, which was great, and started writing one. And I found out that I don't like writing them because I like justice. And when I was trying to write a character who was stealing something from someone else, even if it was the government or an insurance company or somebody, I tried to take it out of
someone. It's okay to steal from.
Which I found out you shouldn't steal. I should have an overgrown sense of justice, I guess. But I love to watch them because they're so fun. So that was a great class to take. I'd take it again, actually, just to learn how they're put together and how to reverse engineer one. That was a great class. And he does Kickstarters every year, sometimes a couple a year. And if you want to take his classes, he often has a discount. Like you can get in the Kickstarter and get these classes for half of what they normally are, or end of the year sale, and he'll offer them at 50% off if you buy right now. Otherwise, they're just all normal. And I love a good sale, but I bought most of the classes full price before he was running, and I'd do it again because they're good classes. So those are the ones I've taken so far. I do have, because he did a Christmas Kickstarter one, I have 2 coming up, 2 short ones, not full length classes coming up. Those are Christmas related. How to write a Christmas mystery short story. How to write a Christmas mystery short story. That's not the real title of it, but that's the topic. And then how to write a sweet romance Christmas themed short story. Both of those are short stories, and they're short. And we'll come up with some of the tips on taking classes later on. I will give you one more thing about his classes before we move on. They're all on Teachable, or they're, what do you call them, follow along classes. However, he does teach some of his classes, like depth in writing, pseudo live, such that you watch the lecture and then he gives you homework, and you have a certain amount of days to get that homework in, and he actually reads your homework. He or Christine read your homework. So it's kind of good to get actual feedback on your story. I've done a few of those where I get the feedback from Dean Wesley Smith is emailing me about my story. So you can either take them at your own pace or wait and sign up for the ones where he is actually reviewing for that quarter.
Anything else on that one?
Nope. We'll put a link for his classes out there, and I recommend.
Okay. So let's move to Better, Faster Academy.
Yes. Let's talk about Better, Faster Academy. That is a program put together by Becca Syme. Becca writes cozy mysteries. She also writes nonfiction, and she has a coaching program, a Patreon. She has this woman is busy. She has a podcast called The Quitcast, which many of you writers may have heard of. And she also has a YouTube channel, which is also, that's where The Quitcast is, and also some of her Better, Faster stuff. Becca Syme is the author of the Dear Writer, You Need to Quit, as well as Cozy Mysteries. So
she has a whole series of those. And they all look just like that. They're just a different color. They've all got the pencil on them.
Branding.
Yeah.
So that's the Better, Faster Academy.
And what's the core that you're learning, and who should enroll?
Okay. Who should enroll? I would say her classes are for anywhere from beginners to advanced authors, and legitimately beginners to advanced. I took and anyone who is suffering from overwhelm or frustration with their writing or their process, it's a great series of classes to take. Her books are great to read if you're overwhelmed. She's got a new one about overwhelm coming out. So that's great. So that's for any writer at any stage. And what you're going to learn in her classes are all about productivity, improving your productivity, understanding better how you write, and building systems for yourself based on your own mentality or your own way of thinking, etc. And she also teaches effective writing tools based on your strengths, which is the other book that I was looking for, but I don't have it handy.
Oh, yeah, she does. So like a strengths for writers kind of thing.
Exactly. She does strengths for writers. And so it's based on the Clifton strengths, which she and her cohorts or her team members are all certified in teaching Clifton strengths. And I had heard of Clifton strengths, it's easy for me to say, back in the corporate world, because that is one of the personality tests that there's Myers-Briggs, there's the Enneagram, there's so many of them, but Clifton strengths is one that you can take to find out how you work better and how to work better with others with certain strengths. And all of them are kind of along the same lines, but it's very interesting. So I had already taken it, but her take on it, or the way she uses the Clifton strengths, is geared specifically toward authors. So if you've ever taken Clifton strengths, you got back your top 5 strengths. There are 33, 35 strengths in there. And hers goes through all of them and tells you specifically how those strengths and where they rank in when you test your top 5, your top 12, your top 15, and the bottom strengths, where they rank for you personally, individually, how it affects or can affect your thinking and specifically your writing. And I want to tell you, it was transformational for me because it made so much sense. I understood why I was so frustrated and why I do all of this research. And if I don't feel like I've done enough research, then I'm stuck on the page. And it's because I'm a high input, and input likes to take in all the information and process it. I'm also high strategic, so I'm always planning, planning, and planning ahead. And a high intellection, which means I do a lot of thinking. And that's where I was frustrated the most with my writing, is that I felt like I'm thinking about this book all the time, but I'm not writing as much as I'm thinking. I don't understand it.
You're input and you're not output.
Yes, exactly. And that's probably what frustrates my friends about me. But I'll be sitting there and not saying a word, and they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, thinking about what you said. Give me a break. I'll let you know tomorrow what I think. But anyway, she has a lot of phrases that she uses, and you'll hear from other authors like energy pennies and how you spend them. So the best way to spend your time to get the most productivity out. And also for intellection people, thinking is writing, because we do all of that cranking away in our brains before we can put it on a page. And she said that, I was like, "Oh, wake up. You see me? You I feel seen, I feel heard." So that was awesome. I cannot recommend her classes enough. And I took her 2 main ones, which are, let's see, I wrote them down so I wouldn't forget them, but it's Write Better Faster is 101, Write Better Faster. That's when you get you do the whole test. And then Strengths for Authors is where she puts together strategies using the test, your test feedback and how to use it. And they work together. I took them back to back. I want to say this for all of the classes that I'm going to mention, and we'll talk about this a little bit more in the summary. I don't recommend anymore doing back to back unless you're not working a job, you don't have kids to take care of, you don't have a house to build or flip, or you don't have anything else going on. You have to make time for these classes. And if you don't, what you'll wind up doing is you'll have these back-to-back classes that you thought in your brain, this makes perfect sense. I'll take Write Better Faster, then I'll take Strengths for Authors. It makes sense to take them back to back. I didn't have enough time, my intellection, to process the first class. And so I was stuttering into the second class, not fully aware. And then also had some stuff pop up at work. And I did not get the full value, I'll say. But I went to the classes and loved them, but I was not as present.
Right.
Something to think about with any of the classes you take is that, do you have that time in your schedule to take them?
I know for 2024, I've only set a goal of 1 class per quarter,
Smart.
which I don't know that I will be able to stick to that. And if I'm going to get all my writing done, I got to take less classes, because I'm one of those people. Give me all the information. Just give it to me. I got to be learning something. I'm a consummate student. I've got to be learning something all the time. But I need to put a little bit of a break on that in order to have time to get the things out. So not so much in as I'm putting out. So now, what do you think are the benefits of her classes?
I think if you take her classes, you're going to find yourself writing more and getting frustrated less overwhelmed.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, tell me about it. Or you'll know why you're getting frustrated. And since you will know what your strengths are, you'll know what are the benefits of those strengths and what are some things that could hinder you about those strengths. Because just because I have high strategic, that doesn't mean there's no downside to that. There's downside.
Yeah.
In a class. So you'll also enjoy the process, I think, more since you're stressing about it less. So, and you can use, even though I told my friend, hi, Kristen. I told my friend Kristen about the class because I was so excited about it when I took it. I'm still excited about it now, so you can't tell, because she's into that whole learning personalities and applying and improving and optimizing your life. And even if you are not an author, you could still take it and you get something out of learning all of those 35 strengths for yourself. and how to leverage them and how to mitigate for the downsides of them. You still get something out of them, but her whole philosophy and classes are geared towards authors. She's done over 20 years of just coaching authors. So she knows her stuff, and so do the other coaches in her program. So that's what you get out of it. Hopefully less stress, less frustration, and a better understanding of how you work. And it'll also help you to develop your own writing systems, which we've talked about before.
Anything else on Becca Syme?
Nope. We'll put links in the show notes.
And we met her at 20 Books.
Yeah.
And she's hilarious and no nonsense. And I love that.
She's very nice. She'll call you on your stuff.
Okay. All right. So let's move on to Natasha Sass's classes. Who's it for and what will writers learn from her course?
So Natasha Sass is a cozy mystery author who's done lots of research in the whole genre of cozy mysteries. I believe she writes 2 subgenres. She has a kitty cat themed cozy mystery under a pseudonym, and then she writes a paranormal cozy mystery. I think she just started that one. Her classes are for anyone who wants to write a cozy mystery or a cozy mystery novella. She has holiday themed classes like Halloween theme and Christmas theme, and then just regular cozy mystery.
Okay. And what of her classes have you taken?
Funny you should ask, because I have my handy dandy binder right here. I took the regular cozy mystery novel workbook class, this is the book that goes with the class. And I also took the Halloween one because I want to write a cute little Halloween mystery for one of my books for a launch. And I also took and we talked about this in another one of our cozy Christmas mysteries. I also took her Christmas themed one. And one of the things that she gives, because she's a fan of the universal tropes, one we did before, she gives you the Christmas cozy universal list. These are things that people want you can put in to add to that atmosphere, like tree lighting, Christmas cards, Christmas sweaters, stockings, garlands. If you need to add more Christmas butter to your book, she gives you some of these, and the same for the Halloween and whatever your theme is or your trope, you should have a list like that. Those are the ones I took. I enjoyed all of them. And she now offers them. Oh, and she just put out a book, which we're going to review at a later date, about how to write cozy mysteries, just regular cozy mysteries. But those are for classes.
And what would you say are the benefits of her classes?
I think there's a lot of people who want to write a cozy mystery because they love reading them, or they see them on Hallmark's mystery and movie channel. And a lot of the cozy mysteries novellas can turn into movies because they're about the right length. But the benefits, I would say, is you will come out of her class with a solid foundation in this genre, the cozy mystery genre. Even if you just take the one type, the cozy mystery normal one. And you'll be ready to write your own one because she gives you lots of worksheets and lots of fun worksheets and how to design she has a way of how to design the suspects. She has this little pattern thing that she does with you put your suspects around your victim and add all of their stuff in there. So a great way to look at it and outline or not outline, chance through. And it's a self-paced course now. I went through when it was instructor-led. She doesn't offer instructor-led as often, but it's the exact same course, but it's self-paced now with her talking and lecturing, and then you do the exercises on your own. But if you go through that class, give yourself time to go through the class, listen to the lecture, and then do the exercise. And at the end of the class, you'll wind up with a very good outline or draft of a cozy mystery because that's the way it's structured. So that's what she wanted. I'm friends with her on Facebook and Clubhouse. That's what she wanted from her class, that people would be able to take it. And at the end of the class, if they did the work, have a cozy mystery.
Very cool. So you're saying that would be one of the benefits of taking her class? What other benefits would you get from her class?
Yes. She designed it so you would come out of the class, if you've done the work, with a cozy mystery draft, or at the very least, a really good outline if you choose to outline. That's one of the benefits. And another benefit, I would say, is you'll develop a really good understanding of the cozy mystery genre and its tropes and how to meet reader expectations.
Okay, Cool. Anything else for her?
Nothing else for Sass.
Okay, so let's move on to evaluating a writing course. What would you say are the top 5? We're going to cut it to 5. Top 5 criteria to consider when you are looking at which classes to take. Because you and I would, actually, we probably have tried to take all the classes, but you and I would take all the classes, but we don't have all the time for all the classes.
Or all the money.
or all the money. There's that. I mean, we both wouldn't mind winning the lottery. And until then, what would be the criteria to consider before adding a class to your schedule?
Great question. I'm so glad you asked, Amy.
Come.
All right. So the number 1, I would think, is the relevance to your genre or your interest or your type of writing. So if you're a mystery writer, you might want to take a mystery class or mystery genre class. There's all kinds of other generic writing classes that you can take, but the relevance to your current writing or your current step in the writing where you are, beginner, intermediate, advanced. That's number 1.
Okay.
Number 2, I would say, is the expertise and the reputation of the person or person instructing the class. Because there are it's a market. There are a lot of pop-up classes and pop-up wizards of writing that come up, and they cost money. And you want to make sure that when you take a class, that you're taking the class from someone who is experienced in that genre, who is experienced in writing and publishing, not just writing, but actually publishing. So you want them to have some street cred, as they say, and to know what they're talking about. So those are the things to consider there. So do some research if you're looking at a class. Even if it's, you got to buy it right now, or you'll never get this class again. Probably, if it's a hard sell, you probably want to pass anyway. But make sure you research on the person who's offering the class and how they're offering structure. Oh, that's number 3, actually. The course structure and content quality. Some of these you can look, especially if they're on some platform called like Teachable, you can look and see what the curricula is. And you can read a little bio about the author. So you can see what the content is going to be ahead of time. Sometimes they'll have a sample. They'll have the first module free, so you can see that. And then when it comes to, in that same thing, structure, I used to do adult training for technology training, and all people, all adults, all humans learn in different ways. So you want to consider the way the class is being offered. Will it meet you where you are in terms of how you learn? Right. For example, there is a really popular writing group out there that offers all kinds of classes from very well-known published authors, and they're very good topics, great classes. And I've taken a few of them. They are offered only in email. So they send you an email with the lecture, and then you can write back with, your face. I learned the not so easy way that I could not learn that way. I could barely get to the emails to open them. And then I was distracted and didn't finish the email. And then it was too late to sit in the homework. So those kinds of classes, email-based classes, are not for me, but they might be for somebody who is always in their email, and they are a visual learner. They're always reading at that kind of learning.
I'm always in my email to delete email.
So that's number 3. Number 4 is take a look at the student testimonials and success stories, if they have them. That's, again, going back to that whole reputation of the instructor. So check out some reviews, ask around. If you are in an author community or know other authors, you'll have the opportunity to say, hey, have you ever taken this class, or do you know this instructor? What are your thoughts? Because there are lots of fly-by-nights out there. And sometimes you'll get someone that says, don't do it. Nix. But then you'll get some that says, yes, that's a great class. That's how I found Dean Wesley Smith. Numerous people highly recommended his classes, and specifically a couple of them. And number 5, you have to learn the balance between the cost and the value and time that you have to put into the class. You have to figure out what your intention is when you want to go out and take a class, if it's offering that, if it's going to meet your expectations, how much does it cost? What's the quality? You have to weigh all of that in terms of the value to your career as an author. because it might be good for someone. It might be good for Amy, but it's not good for Audrea. You have to balance all of that yourself. And I kind of snuck another one in there. Time. Make sure you're thinking about how much time you have to put into the lectures and the exercises. And if you have the opportunity to get feedback on your writing, you want to make sure you have time to do the writing. So you put your best foot forward if you're asking someone like a Dean Wesley Smith or, Natasha Sass to read an example or your homework. Those are the things I would think.
That would be kind of sucky if you didn't have time to do the homework or you sit in crap homework just to get it done. And now you've got them looking at your crap homework. Yeah, that would be not so cool. So before I get to the very last question, I want to remind everybody to like and subscribe.
Do that.
We always forget that part. So like the video down there, just hit the little like button. And
Somewhere
then on the other side, there's a little subscribe, little doohickey goggle thingy. Hit it. We would appreciate it. Okay. So how can writers plan classes into their schedules?
Another great question, Amy. I would say you want to start by setting a clear goal of what you want to get out of the class. Set your own intention or expectation for what classes you want to take. Find a class that meets those. And then make sure you are allocating your time accordingly. So if it's a 6-week class and it's an hour or 2 hours a lecture a week, you want to make sure you put that budget that time into your schedule every week for the course, and also budget in the time to do the exercises, as I mentioned before. You also want to remember to be consistent in your watching the lectures and doing the exercises. And lastly, don't forget to apply what you learn in your class as soon as possible. If you can't apply it,
we're supposed to apply what we learn?
That's the only way you're going to retain it, Amy.
Okay.
I often like to take a class when I already have an idea for what I want. Like if I was taking a romance class, I might have an idea for a romance I want to write because I don't have any work in progress yet. Or if I have a work in progress in mystery like I do, that's when I take mystery classes and try to go back and apply that. Or editing classes, apply those editing techniques to my current work in progress. Because the sooner you apply it or try it, the better you'll be able to retain what you learn.
Right. I know that if I take a class and I don't immediately apply it, I forget what I learned in the class. So I have to apply as soon as I learn something. Even if it's just a little application, I have to do something.
Yeah. I have to do something with it. I'm the same way, I have found. That's why when we reviewed a book about writing and marketing cozy mystery, which if you guys haven't watched that one, go back and watch it. Go in and watch it. But we reviewed that book and it had marketing in a whole section on marketing and ads. And I knew I wasn't going to be using that soon. So I actually just put a pin in that one, read the whole first half of the book. I thumbed through the last, but when I start to do marketing and ads, you can bet I'm going to pick up that book and use it to stuff.
Yeah. Anything else you would like to add to your classes?
Not on that first one. I hope you guys found it helpful and do check out those classes that I mentioned. They're all very good instructors who've been around for a while and know their.
I wrote down I have to look up Becca Syme's 2 classes.
So that's all we got. Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.